So this is what we've got all together basically. Hi guys, I'm SKETI, welcome back to another tutorial. Today we're going to look at how to take a picture, put it into SERUM and make a new waveform out of it so we can create any type of sound that we want using that picture that we've used. Right, so let's get to it. So I've got a blank SERUM open up here. I've also got one that I made earlier which I'll switch to soon, but just to show the process of how to get a picture in. Now the first thing that we need is, for this to work, I'm just going to drag this finder window over, is we need to use a .png file. I found any other file format doesn't work, so basically a .png, and also if you set the resolution or dimensions of it to a square shape, because when you look in SERUM, for example, here, this outlay here presents it as a square, so it's best to use a square image like so. And this is the image we're going to use. Now the more colours or variations that are in the image, the more complex the waveform that will be created, so that's something that needs to be taken into consideration. But all we need to do is, I'm just going to drag this over to the other window so we can look at our SERUM here. So I'm just going to grab that and drag that into this window, and it's as simple as literally grabbing hold of it, dragging it to SERUM, and let go, and there we go. There's the new waveform, and as you can see, it sort of represents it as it did. And if I compare the two together, so we had that one and then we have that one. Just going to move that back. So the next thing we need to do is, actually we can listen to it and play it back. Now at the moment it'll sound very quiet because what I've found is if you have black and white images, white produces the loudest signal and black produces the quiet signal, but because this was a variation between blue, red and green, it's not as loud, as you can see. It sort of doesn't get to the loudest level that you can get. But what we can do is we can edit that in the waveform editor. So first thing we need to do is remove this DC offset, because if you notice it's not centralized to the grid, it's off axis in a sense. So if we remove the DC offset, that basically puts the entire waveform to the middle. So everything, it always lines up to the middle, which is useful because now when we go to, where is it, normalize each again separately, that now makes everything the full extent of how far we can push the amplitude basically. So it's almost like normalizing as if you normalized a normal waveform or audio file in Ableton Live or whatever DAW it is you're using. So the next thing we're going to do is, I've set the grid to 64 by 64 because at the moment if I started to sweep through this by holding down a note, although this one isn't too bad, sometimes you get a bit of clicks between each one. So what I'm going to do is just crossfade edges with the grid size. Not use fade edges by grid size. I'm not going to use crossfade edges, but this one. And what that does is it just basically, at the end of each one, brings it back to 0 amplitude basically, so there's no sound playing. But now when we sweep it through, obviously it won't be too noticeable because this one was quite clean. It's a lot cleaner as it sweeps through the waveforms. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up one that I did earlier, because basically it's got all of the effects that I've added on, like an LFO and so on and so forth. I'll just shut that one down. And all I've done for post-processing is just an EQ8 and glue compressor, nothing special really. And then yeah, here we go. So again, it's the save waveform, and if we look through, same as we had before. And all I've done is basically FM'd oscillator B into this first oscillator using this LFO1, and that LFO1 is controlling 10 different things. So we've got the wavetable position of oscillator A, it's controlling there. We have the volume of A, the filter cutoff, which is set as a high pass with a peak as well. So that's controlling the cutoff of the high pass and also the frequency of the peak up here as well, with a little bit of drive and resonance. It's also controlling the sub-oscillator level, just to bring in some bottom end air. What else? The warp of A as well, which is... Where is the warp of A? Yeah, so that's this here, because obviously, yeah, FM from B. And it's controlling the sync on here, and then when we go into the effects, it's controlling a little bit of the EQ. I've added a comb filter as well and some distortion. I was basically messing around with this earlier, and this is what I got to. So now if we just press a note and play it, and if we turn everything off and just go back to sort of the normal sound, like so, and turn all of the effects off as well. Just need to remember which ones I had turned on. Obviously it is sweeping this wavetable position here, which I could turn off, which I will do for a second. So it sounds quite similar to what we had before with the other wavetable, as I showed you how to drag it in. So I'm just going to turn everything back on, if I can remember. Yeah, sub, oscillator B, filter, got the effects. It was hyperdimension, distortion, filter, EQ, compressor and reverb in that order. And then obviously it's always good to listen to it back with a bit of a drum break or some other drum break. Well, that's a new one. A drum break or some other music, just to hear what it sounds like against something. So this is what we've got all together basically. And that basically, if we just look over here, came from this image with a little bit of extra processing, an EQ8 and a glue compressor on the end. And obviously just using this LFO to control loads of different things. Oh yeah, I did use LFO2 as well on the FM from B, just as it, every half note of the bar, it just sweeps backwards and forwards just to create a little bit of more variance basically, yeah. So yeah, just a quick short tutorial there, how to import a picture. Make sure it has to be .png, not JPEG or BMP or anything else. It has to be a .png. That's the format that works with SERUM. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Any questions about what I did, please drop a comment below. Please like, subscribe and share, and the little notification bell as well. Let's obviously YouTube recommendations boost it as well, so more people can see these tutorials. And any recommendations for things you'd like to see in the future tutorial rise, please drop a comment below. Anyway, I'll see you next time guys. Bye. Hi guys, SKETI here. Do you want to learn how to... Or how about... Or maybe even... Well, I'm now giving online one-to-one tuition. The lessons will be entirely centered around what you want to learn. We can cover such things as... making drums, bass,
sound design, sidechaining, mixing, composition, music theory, mastering,
and much, much more. Maybe you just want to brush up on your production skills using Ableton Live or Logic, or whatever it is you want to learn. Get in touch on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube to find out more information. Bonus round. Every new student will get a free sample pack of their choice from my Exit Sounds sample label. So if this sounds good to you, and you want your tunes to sound less like... and more like... and get in touch to find out prices and book your first lesson now. See you soon.
Everybody jump up, come on!